Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. There's nothing special about petty revenge, but if it lasts 25 years, it's another level. We'll tell you more right after the pause. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. 25 years of continuous petty revenge. Almost 25 years ago, I scraped every last penny I had to buy a house. I was 7 months pregnant and already had a young daughter. We decided to exchange and complete on the same day as the house was vacant possession. On the day of completion, I get a call from my solicitor to say the lady selling the house won't complete the sale unless we agree to pay an additional £500 for some curtains and carpet. I really didn't have a choice as I was moving out of a rented house the same day. The money I was forced to use had been saved to provide for the impending baby and a fridge. I went without a fridge for 2 months and had to take hand-me-downs for baby equipment. Roll on a couple months later, and a letter from the bank arrived for the seller. Being nosy, I opened it to find it was a quarterly dividend check. I dropped it straight in the bin as I thought I would deprive her as she deprived me. 25 years later, we're about to complete the sale of this house. The checks have arrived every quarter for our entire ownership like clockwork and have been filed straight in the bin. I'm sure the new owners will be much nicer than me and return the letters to the bank from which they were sent. I'm happy I've deprived the previous owner of their money for 25 years and can only hope they fell on hard times and this money would have made a real difference to them. Revenge is petty, but oh so sweet. And our second story. At least it looked nicer, right? I used to manage a small franchised auto shop and had a small office that nobody went in except me and the occasional employee. Customers were definitely never in it, which is a major point of this story. One of the guys from head office was down, one of those people that just has a job because he's a childhood friend of the owner. He had a very vague title and responsibilities. As far as we could tell, his job was to go around to the shops and complain about pointless things while causing more trouble than he could ever hope to solve, while we were being told we had to listen to him. Here's one example. I had a ridiculously large desk in my office. Besides the size, it was not much more than a table. 2 drawers and no dedicated PC shelf or cabinet. The surface was about 8 feet long by 3 feet deep. I had very little on this desk in comparison. I needed space for a couple of sheets of paper at a time, a keyboard, mouse, and monitor. The tower for the desktop PC, which was also the server for the office, was also on the desk, naturally. He decided one day that having the tower on the desk looked bad and was unprofessional, which again was irrelevant as no customers ever saw it. He said I needed to move it, and he had a specific space in mind, right between the side of the desk and the wall. It didn't even look like it would fit, but he went and got a tape measure, and it pretty well exactly fit that gap. There was as close to 0 space as humanly possible on the left and right sides. The back was as close to the wall as possible as was allowed by the cables coming out of the back, and then the front was open. In fairness, it did look okay there. In practice, though, some of you may see the problem. The vents for the PC were on the left and right side and were now right up against the wall in the desk. I pointed out that this was a bad idea because it was certainly going to overheat there. I tried pretty hard to argue this, but he didn't believe that and insisted I do it anyway, period. So I did it and sent him an email with my boss and the IT guy CC'd afterwards with a picture of the new setup verifying this is what he wanted. He confirmed it for me very clearly, which is just what I wanted. A few days later, I come in one morning and the PC is off. Normally, it stays on overnight, as once you close the store in the evening, it runs a backup overnight and then just stays on. It's no big deal at all that it's off when I get there, in the sense that after the backup, it's not needed until we open the next day, and it only takes a minute to start up. So I start it up. Seems to be working fine. I check my email and there's an auto-generated message from the software company maybe, I don't recall exactly how it was generated, saying that last night's backup failed. A quick check of some logs, and the temperature got too hot while running the backup, and the tower shut itself off. I see that the email went to the IT guy and the bosses, so they're informed, assuming they read their emails. That's not my problem if not. I'm not worried unless I get more instructions about it. I don't. The backup is, well, literally just a backup of certain info on the hard drive, so there's no immediate problem in the shop opening or running that day. Of course, this happens again that night, and the next. It was 4 or 5 days in a row. Then I get in one Friday morning and the PC won't boot. I'm not an IT guy, but okay with computers, and it appears to me the hard drive is toast. We can't open the shop without the server working, so now, of course, it's an emergency. The bosses are now panicking, talking to tech support for the company supplying the proprietary software and PC. Eventually, they decide that, yes, the hard drive is toast. I can't remember exactly why, but there's something in the contract we had about having to get a new hard drive from the supplier. We can't just run to Best Buy. That has to be overnighted from over 2,000 miles away over a weekend. It cost a lot. In addition to being down for all of Friday, it arrives midday Saturday, and installing/setting up the software takes the rest of Saturday. Sunday, we're normally closed, so no loss of business there. But with the backup having failed for the preceding week, there's a whole ton of info that has to be manually entered from those days. The only people around with access and knowledge to do so are me and my boss, and he sure as heck has never worked a weekend and doesn't intend to start now. The good parts are that I'm a single guy at the time with no plans and I get paid hourly. And the way our pay works is I make time and a half for overtime until I get to a certain amount of hours, which I managed to do Friday and Saturday. After that, I get double and a half, which I did for about 10 or 12 hours on Sunday while doing slightly tedious but very easy data entry work in peace and quiet, except for YouTube. The company lost 2 days of income, ended up paying me the equivalent of about 50 hours work for about 16 to 20 actual very easy hours of work. I had a nice paper trail for next time this idiot had a bad idea to implement. I have no idea what trouble, if any, that guy got in for coming up with such a dumb plan, but probably not much more than a basic yelling at, being the owner's best friend. And all I had to do was exactly what I was told. It was easily a $20,000 mistake to improve the look of a PC that nobody ever sees, which of course ended up back on my desk afterwards. And our last story. Entitled parents try to kick me out of my room. I'm currently taking classes away from home, and since I don't like the idea of living out of my car, I rented a room at a nearby bed and breakfast that houses students. Great owners, amazing rooms with private bathrooms, fast Wi-Fi, free use of state-of-the-art kitchen, and above all else, affordable. Of course, because the place I'm staying at is a B&B first, the owners request that I stay flexible during tourist season, which means I keep things at a ready-to-move status. Tourist patrons pay way more to stay here, so they take priority over room choice. Thankfully, tourist season only lasts from September 1st to October 22nd and from February 1st to the 18th and doesn't come without compensation. The owners have temporary rooms in their private residence, they call it the retreat, set up for students who have to move for tourists, as well as a contract stating that if any items left in our rooms are damaged or stolen by tourists, it'll be fixed or replaced. Well, it's tourist season again, thanks to the nearby town's winter and Valentine's festivals that happen every February. I've been moved once so far, but it wasn't too bad. The owner called all the students into the common room to explain the room situation for the coming days. Alrighty then, housemate 1 and housemate 2, you're going to stay the night up at the retreat. OP, you're the lucky one who gets to stay this time. Mind your manners and just do what you do. Later that day, I'm playing on my Xbox when I'm caught off guard as my door swings open and a family of 3 pour in. The father sets down a couple of luggage bags while the kid starts running around the room. The mother takes one look at me and says, "I was told you'd be moved out by now. Why are you still here?" I politely tell her that they may have the wrong room and that mine wasn't selected for patron use. "That's ridiculous. I specifically requested this room. You better leave now or I'll be having a strongly worded conversation with the owner." I ask her to give me a second as I call up the owner. She gives me a whatever. The owner picks up, then I double check with him about my room. He confirms that they have the wrong room and that he'll be there shortly to work it out. I relay this information to the mother, who just doesn't accept this. This is stupid. I asked for this room and I paid the fee, so you got to leave. Now. The kid finally notices my Xbox. Awesome, we have an Xbox while we stay here. Can I play it, Mom? Please? The mom agrees, totally ignoring the fact that she has no right to allow her child to use someone else's things. I keep the controller away from the kid and say that if I'm leaving, I'll be taking my Xbox with me. Her brat did not like that answer and began to wail like a banshee. Now look what you've done. You've made my baby cry. He's going to be in a bad mood for the rest of our stay now. You better hope the owner is forgiving, because he's going to get an earful when he shows up. All this is going on, and not a word has been breathed from the dad. He just stands behind his wife, arms crossed, with a mildly discomforted look on his face. The owner finally shows up, and it goes like this. Hello, folks. Sorry for the mix-up. Your room is taken up by this punk. We know, but this is the room I asked for, and it's the room we're getting, or we'll find somewhere else. Ma'am, your bill states that you asked for room 4. This is room 5. I've already made the arrangements for room 4 to be used, so if you could please just follow me, we'll get your family set up. No, this room has an Xbox video game entertainer. Yes, she called it that. And my son wants to use it while we stay here. It's this room or nothing. You'll be hard-pressed to find another place with vacancy during the festival. Besides, it's just down the hall and it's just as nice as this room. Does it have an Xbox? I don't think. Then it's this room or we'll take the Xbox with us. I interject saying that no one is taking or using my Xbox without my permission. Why do you even have that thing anyways? You look like an adult. Act like one and quit playing childish video games. Ma'am, it's room 4 or nothing, and I can assure you it's not going to be easy to find a new place to stay. Even if you did, it won't be as nice as here. Fine, I'll take it, but don't expect a review over 3 stars. She stomps out of the room, wailing brat and pack mule husband in tow. The owner gives me a heesh look before apologizing and closing the door. That was 2 days ago, and they're still down the hall from me for another 2 days. The kid has had at least 4 very audible temper tantrums since then. God have mercy. Man, that owner has the patience of a saint, not to mention a damn good business model. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.